Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Welcome back. We're going to talk about now declaring variables. Okay, declaring variables. Now, a variable is a placeholder for information. So it's like to compare it to a box, and you stick stuff in the box. Like you may have a username, and you want to stick it inside of something like a placeholder. So you stick inside a variable. A username goes into a variable. And in algebra, you use variables a lot, or math, because it could be any number. Like x doesn't have a value, but you give it a value. So you have to know what it is, or else it means nothing. So Visual Basic for applications reserves the amount of memory necessary to hold the contents of the declared variable. So we declare a variable to tell the computer, tell VBA how much memory to have for that variable, and what kind of data is going to be stored in the variable. And we can declare it kind of like when you build an Access database. You're calling a field, whether it's a text field or a numeric field or a Boolean field or a memo field. You're telling it what that field is going to hold, what kind of memory, what kind of information that field is going to hold. Well, the same thing with VBA, with your variables. You need to tell it. So if you say, I want to declare dim is like saying dimension. This is a short word for it. Dim str. Because I'm going to have dim str message. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Str msg doesn't mean anything. Str message doesn't mean anything. So I'm saying dim str msg as string. Now I'm saying that I want str message to hold text alphanumeric characters. So it can hold like 255 characters. Okay, so dim str message as string. Now if I want a variable to hold only numerics, so dim int number as what I want to declare it as. I want to declare it as an integer. So dim, now I just want to store yes, no value. Dim yn as boolean. Notice this stuff that comes up is called IntelliSense. You probably have seen that quite a bit, but the program, if you look at your object browser, it really just queries the object browser and pulls back the list of values for the that start with B. That's why when I boo, it went straight to boolean. Notice that I backspace over this stuff. As it doesn't know, it starts with A, so you're limiting it by say B. Okay. Again, I'm just going ahead and saying what type of information is going to be held by str message, and I include that I could say dim msg as string. Okay, but I don't know if it holds. I want it to be more precise. I want to be able to see it when I'm looking at the 100 lines of code. I want to say, oh, well, this value it's a str message. That means that it's gonna make a naming convention. I know that it's gonna hold only alphanumeric characters, and int number is gonna hold. It's gonna hold integer characters. If I say int x, okay, as integer, well, right away I know, okay, it's int x. It's not just plain x. what X could be. It could hold alphanumerics, or it could hold integers. I don't know. Okay, one more thing I didn't include here that's I think critically important is the is how do you store decimal places, because integer doesn't allow you to store any decimals. Let's go ahead and change this. ing number. Let's say you want to put like $1. So dim dbl. Okay, guess what that is? Dim dbl amount. dbl amount as double. Okay, dbl amount is double. That means it holds numerics. That means I can say dbl. I got to say what it is, what it will hold, what the value is. So I'm saying dollar. I want it to be $1.38. Okay, and then I'm gonna say ing number. And of course, this one does not store any type of a decimal place. So if I put a decimal there, it's going to say, it's going to give me an error message. So dim message box int number, what is it going to do? 1 only. It didn't give me the 0.35. But if I say dbl amount, then I run it, then I get the whole amount, 138. Okay, that's for grins and giggles. So again, declaring a variable, we set the data type. Okay, remember that data type, it's like a database. That's why you like Access, because setting data types, it's really setting the foundation. It's kind of tedious and monotonous and boring and stuff, but you really have to do it. It's kind of like the housekeeping. Keep it up. Okay, so the variable naming conventions, Boolean, BLN, currency, CUR, you really use DBL instead. You could always format it, but that's kind of like the accepted. Accepted is DBL amount. You don't see that much currency stuff in there, but they give it to you anyway. That choice is there. Date, double, integer, long, single string variant. Okay. And then, so then we're going to have dim is another name for dimension. Okay, dim is a short, and that's what you have to remember. Dim, not dimension. Dim. It's kind of short. Imagine if you had to write dimension all the time, but you're really telling the computer, hey, set aside this amount of memory for a string variable, and the string variable is called the str method. Okay, set apart this amount of memory, computer, for an integer value, something that's going to hold integer values. It's going to be called int number. Okay, again, if you don't put these in there and it says option explicit, look at the error that you're going to get. Okay, here I'm going to get rid of all my variable. I said option explicit, but I got rid of all my declarations up here, saying variable not defined. It didn't know where it is. Okay, that kind of is a check and balance. If I take it out, option explicit, it'll run. But you may spell it like this and wonder why your code is not running right. Well, that would like this. Push the wrong button. Okay, like dbl amount. It runs, but it gives you nothing. Okay, to get the t. So option explicit does have its purpose. So variable not defined. So option explicit does this again. Set it. Go to tools, references. If it's already set, okay, you got to set it yourself. So tools, options, and then require variable declaration. Make sure this is checked. That'll be added by default. Okay, so make sure that's there. Please make sure that's there. Okay, anyway. Next, initializing variables. Okay, once you have declared a variable, you need to initialize it. You initialize a variable by assigning a value to it. Okay, we did that by using amount. Let me go ahead and take this out. So we dim dbl amount as double. Then we initialize it. Okay, dbl amount equals this 1.38. That is initializing the variable. Okay, if you have a variable called children, you say int children equals 12. If you have it's your play title, as you like it, whatever you want this variable to be, you have to initialize it. What is it equal to? It equals to this. If you have it's your message, it has to be equal to something, or else it'd be blank. Okay, blank. Now there are certain default values for your variables, so that's what they start off to be. So if let's say I have an integer, it should be at 0 at the beginning. So int number, I'm going to change this all up. Int number as integer. And then to save time, I'm going to cut and paste. Okay, I didn't initialize it. It's 0 by default. Okay, it knows automatically it's going to be 0. I did not initialize it. So now a boolean, bln answer, automatically it's going to be false. If I could spell answer, did bln answer as boolean. You wonder how to type stuff as? Cut and paste. It's great invention. Okay, so did bln answer as boolean. Then I'm going to go ahead and look, it's false automatically. It starts out as false. You could be double certain of it by saying did bln answer as false. It's already going to be false, but just be double certain. Do it yourself. It's going to be false. It's not going to be false. It's going to be false. Straight up false. Okay. Now, obtaining values from a user. Okay. bln answer again. Now, what if I wanted to have the user tell me what the answer is going to be? What their answer is. Select yes or no, or okay or cancel. Well, again, I can use the message box function to do that. Okay, and that's what this whole next section is about. Okay, so again, we're going to talk about the not required parts of the function. not required parts of the function. Now the message box has these not required parts. So we didn't do that earlier. We just used the basic one, message box BLA answer. Well, what about using the not required parts vid? It can return a value as well. So BLN answer equals message box. Okay. Select yes or no. And notice that we have the next one. When I put a comma here, we have all this extra stuff. You notice a comma, we see this, as message box, all these different arguments inside of the message box they may have not considered. Well, anything inside of a bracket means that it's not required. Okay, it's not required. Look at all these other message box items. So I put a comma here. I have this Intelligence, so it pops down. So I'm going down here. I want something. I gotta. Okay, the answer is gonna be yes or no. So I'm gonna find something that says VBS or no. Okay, and then I want a title, and then user comment is gonna be my title. User comment. And then I'm gonna end right there because it doesn't matter what it is, but what everything else is. Now notice that VBA message box result. So function returns a value. A function returns value. So message box. Now if I go down through here, I want to get my answer. BL answer. Select yes or no. User comment. Notice that here I have my title text. Here I have select yes or no, yes or no, no. Well, it didn't do anything. Doesn't do anything, but it sure did give me the option here, select yes or no. Select yes or no. Yes. Well, I don't know what they selected. I just know that they selected yes or no. Okay, we're gonna take a little break, and I'll come back and we'll finish that up, and you'll be able to find out what the result was and how to test for that result. Okay, back in a flash.